The following presentation is a review of the Kentucky regulation regarding the use of restraint and seclusion in public schools. This regulation is designed to enhance safety for both students and staff by limiting the use of physical restraint and seclusion, ensure training for teachers on more effective ways to improve student behavior, and to train teachers on how to safely conduct restraints when absolutely necessary. All policies, procedures, and forms regarding this regulation can be found on the Kentucky School Board Association website using the following link. Physical restraint means a personal restriction that immobilizes or reduces the ability of a student to move their torso, arms, legs, or head freely. Physical restraint does not mean temporarily touching or holding of a student's hand, wrist, arm, shoulder, or back for the purpose of encouraging them to move voluntarily to a safe location. Physical restraint is not behavioral interventions such as proximity control used to respond to calm and comfort an upset student, and physical restraint is not the physical guidance when teaching a skill or redirecting the student's attention. Use of physical restraint by all personnel is permitted when a student's behavior poses an imminent danger of physical harm to self or others in a clearly unavoidable emergency circumstance. In such situations, staff who have not had core team training may physically restrain students, but shall summon core-trained school personnel as soon as possible. The following are expressly prohibited in public Kentucky schools and educational programs: mechanical restraint, chemical restraint, aversive behavioral interventions, physical restraint that is life-threatening, prone or supine restraints, or any physical restraint known to be prohibited based on a student's disability, healthcare needs, or medical or psychiatric condition. According to the regulation, restraint shall not be used as punishment or discipline, to force compliance, to retaliate, as a substitute for appropriate behavioral support, to prevent property damage, except as permitted under KRS Chapter 503, as a routine school safety measure, or as a convenience. Core-trained personnel are school personnel who have undergone core team training and may also use physical restraint after less restrictive behavioral interventions have been ineffective in stopping misbehavior in non-emergency circumstances when the student's behavior poses an imminent danger of physical harm to self or others, to prevent property damage, and to maintain reasonable discipline in a school, class, or other. During restraints, the students shall be monitored for physical and psychological well-being for the entire duration of the restraint. Personnel shall only use the amount of force reasonably believed necessary to protect the student or others from imminent danger of physical harm. This regulation does not prohibit teachers from breaking up fights between students, and the regulation does not force teachers to stand by and watch students who are trying to destroy property in order to hurt another student or staff member. There are times when only core team members are able to restrain students for destroying property. Please see the regulation in its entirety. If you are restraining a student and you fall on the floor, you will not be in trouble for using a prone restraint. That was not your intention. And if you have a student who bolts unless he is passed from hand to hand, you may grab him to prevent him from running from the school for safety purposes. Group. Seclusion means the involuntary confinement of a student alone in a room or area from which the student is prevented from leaving. Seclusion does not mean classroom timeouts, supervised in-school detentions, or out-of-school suspensions. Seclusion may be used if the student's behavior poses an imminent danger of physical harm to self or others, if the student is visually monitored for the duration of the seclusion, if less restrictive interventions have been ineffective in stopping the imminent danger, and if school personnel implementing the seclusion are appropriately trained to use seclusion. Seclusion shall not be used as a punishment or discipline, to force compliance or to retaliate, as a substitute for appropriate educational or behavior supports, to prevent property damage in the absence of imminent danger, as a routine school safety measure, as a convenience for staff, or as a substitute for timeout. A seclusion setting shall be reviewed by district administration to ensure it is free of objects and fixtures that may cause harm. It provides personnel a view of the student at all times. It provides adequate lighting and ventilation. It has unlocked and obstructed doors and has at least one annual fire and safety inspection. The use of seclusion shall end as soon as the student's behavior no longer poses an imminent danger of physical harm to self or others, or a medical condition occurs, putting the student at risk of harm. Any incident of restraint or seclusion must be documented on Infinite Campus. Parents must be notified as soon as possible within the 24 hours of the incident, and a principal should be notified as soon as possible but no later than the end of the school day on which the incident occurred. Parents or emancipated youth may request a debriefing session within 5 days of the incident. There is a debriefing checklist available to use during these sessions. Please take this opportunity to discuss with your staff who your core team is, how you will summon them, and any other school-specific procedures you have or will need with regards to restraint and seclusion.